Hello, it's Sarah from Hardcover Hearts, and I'm here with my week of reading wrap-up. I'm so glad I chose to wait until today to do it because it has just been announced that Joe Biden and Berkeley's own Kamala Harris has won the presidential election. Therefore, come January, we will have a new president and vice president in the White House. And however, I want to celebrate and enjoy and feel good in this moment. But there's still so much work to do that we can't take our feet off the gas. Next up is Georgia, and there needs to be a concerted effort to ensure that those runoffs send the Reverend and John Ossoff to the Senate. And so that's the next focus. There's a lot of time and energy has to be put into that. And what's so interesting, I'm not sure if you all know this, but Stacey Abrams, who was to win the governor's race a few years ago, but because of significant voter disenfranchisement, lost through a recount that was actually held and managed by her opponent because he was the Secretary of State at the time. She really drove it home and created an amazing outsourcing network that helped bring the votes in. So I think it's incredibly valuable. I will put a link to her fund below because she's doing great work, and we want to send money her way because she knows how to bring out the vote. And let's continue the forward progress. And then the job then becomes to really push this administration to more progressive goals and not just kind of fall back to calm and that we have everything's fine for those of us who are progressives. And I recognize there are people who probably watch me that are not. And sorry for your loss, but at the same time, very happy for our win because of the policies that are more close to my heart. Policies like protecting equal rights for all people, including transgender people. Ensuring that women have the right to their bodily autonomy. All of these things are incredibly important. Not separating children from their parents at the borders, but that's all above and beyond what we need to talk about today. What we need to talk about today are books. So let me say, didn't get a lot of reading done this week. Barely touched anything, but I did finish 2 books in the weekend. So the first book that I finished was Love After Love by Ingrid Persaud. I talked about this last week in that I thought it was going to be really good. I was really enjoying it. It is kind of a found family story of a widowed woman and her son that are growing up in the same home that she rents a space, rents a room to a closeted gay man. And it's their individual lives. So we have 3 protagonists that we flip from, both the son Solo, as well as the Miss Betty, as well as Mr. Cheaton. And so the 3 of them are really the focus and each perspective. And while they each have their own journey to go on, there's also ties that bind and love and respect and family there. I loved this book. It was not sentimental. It was not sappy in any way, shape, or form, and it was realistic. And there were no easy answers and no easy sections here. We're dealing with Trinidad. This is where it's set, and there are laws against homosexuality on the books. And so we really see how difficult it is for Mr. Cheaton to have love, to be a gay man who's out there with other gay men and not be afraid. Mr. Cheaton is a school teacher, so it becomes very difficult for him to want to risk his job, which is what would happen. He would be arrested and lose his job if he was found in the company of other gay men or to be known to be a homosexual. So this was, although it wasn't sentimental, it was tender. I was very, very moved very moved by what happened in this book. I think it's a really great read, very well written. The characters are real, felt very, very real. I learned a lot about Trinidad. There's a lot of interesting aspects about the Indian influence, and some ceremonies and some traditions and some customs, and how that impacts Trinidadian culture. There's some excitement going on outside. Just gonna enjoy it because it sounds so good. Okay, so next up was The Silent Companion. So I finished this creepster. Okay, so this is my second from Laura Purcell. Laura Purcell is a Gothic writer. Look at that cover, isn't it so good? This is a very, very creepy story. We open in a psych ward, Victorian. So this was my Victober adjacent, kind of moving me out of Victober into Halloween and transitioning into nonfiction November and novellas in November. So yeah, it's great to hear. So with this, we have a woman. This might be very hard to film. It literally sounds like there's a party now. People gathering outside, so that's exciting. So we have a few different scenes and places here. One is London in an insane asylum. The other is an old creepy mansion, and that mansion holds a curse. So the family was cursed generations ago, and so then it opens into two timelines. The main family that we're following is Elsie. Elsie is expecting her first child. Her husband, Rupert, went ahead from London to this mansion to get it ready because he wants to raise his child there, and left his cousin Sarah as kind of her companion. While he's at the home, an accident happens and he dies. So we see Sarah and Elsie taking this very creepy trip to this mansion where they're going to live, and they're going to take up residency there. The village can't stand and will not work at the house. They think that it's haunted. There's unexplained noises like a hiss and a sawing sound that happens in the house. There are doors that open and then will close, and that will lock, and no key will open, and then all of a sudden mysteriously will be open. And most importantly, there are these wooden figures that are life-size and are three-dimensional, and so they look like real people, and the eyes move when you come into the room. So so much creepiness. It was so deliciously good to read and fun. But there's a lot of weakness when it comes to the plot. There's not a lot of explanation at the end as to the why, but the why is explained, but the how remains a mystery. Yeah. So this wasn't my favorite. I'm still very happy I read it, and I think I read it at the perfect time. But I still think that The Corset was phenomenal. I have the Bone China to read of her work, so that will be soon. So that's what I completed. I'm currently listening to an audio fantastic book about art and the art world and women in the art world, and it's called 9th Street Women, and it's Lee Krasner, Elaine de Kooning, Grace Hartigan, Joan Mitchell, and Helen Krankenthaler. 5 painters and the movement that changed modern art. Now, this is by Mary Gabriel, and it's really, really good. It's a collective biography of these 5 women. These 5 women and how they really led the movement as painters. So a lot of times you get these, and there's a lot of behind the scenes of women who support the men or are in the gallery owners or the buyers, but this are actual artists themselves and how their each of their histories and how they work together. I'm enjoying it tremendously, especially the part about art during the war and art during World War II as we're coming into World War II and the importance of it. And I think they had a special challenge because the art was abstract. It's modern art, which feels devoid of meaning during a time when the world is devoid of meaning. And it could feel very self-indulgent to do art at a time when people are dying and being attacked. And so just so much to think about, very, very engaging. I highly recommend it so far. Then restarted my Anita Brookner project with Leo of A Little Book Life. This is a friend from England, number 7. Really nice cover there. Still making progress in Ali Smith's book. This is Artful. Loving the sounds. Continuing on with A Writer's Diary with Elizabeth from Bookish North. This is Virginia Woolf's diary. Little kids getting into it. And then also Marcel Proust, In Search of Lost Time, Volume 2, In the Shadow of Young Girls in Flower. And so we're making progress until the week and the Tuesday that never ended just seemed to go on and took up all of my mental bandwidth and time and energy. But it's all done. And so now the palpable sense of relief that we just know and we now have a lame duck session in play and can start moving forward just is palpable. So I'm very much looking forward to reading. I think I'm going to go outside and celebrate for a little while, and then I'm going to come in and really buckle down on the reading. So at that note, it's really pumping out there. I'm going to go outside. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember, if you are going outside to celebrate, we are in the middle of a pandemic. So please maintain safe social distance, wear your masks, wash your hands, and do not touch your face. That's it for me for now. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.